who are you, what did you study, and what you're currently doing?
I'm Martin Roelfs. I studied physics originally. Before that, I started with chemistry actually, but then I found physics to be more interesting, and then I switched career. And after I did my PhD in physics, I ended up finding a job across the road at Flanders Make, the research institute. So that's in the manufacturing industry where we do a lot of computed geometry and those kinds of problems. So that's where I'm currently working.
And what really got you interested in physics?
I think it was a more natural progression for me. I didn't dream of becoming a physicist originally, but I actually thought I would become a welder at first, and I started there. But then I realized like the mathematics that we got there was rudimentary, but it was very interesting, and I liked that part. And then I decided to keep studying that. So I just realized like this maths and physics is very interesting. So then I decided to keep studying basically. And then I just naturally ended up developing an interest in physics and really going for that.
Okay, and you said you wanted to become a welder as a child. Would your younger self still be impressed with what you're doing today?
Yeah, I think so. Because I was always very technical, so I liked fixing things and making things. And knowing how things work, and it just escalated more and more to the side of understanding how things work, basically. But I think my younger self would still like to see where I'm at now.
Okay, that's very nice. And outside of physics and researching, what else do you like to do?
I have a lot of like sports as hobbies, or playing board games, those kinds of things, watching movies. But I do have to say that my biggest hobby is physics.
Okay. And what is your favorite board game?
Ooh, I like Small World of Warcraft a lot now. So that's Small World, but a Warcraft edition. So that's a very cool game we play a lot nowadays.
Okay, and what got you interested in that game?
I think it's the strategy. I always like strategy games. And it's a game with some good dynamics for strategy.
Okay, and I'm not really into that game and into physics as well, but how would you explain physics to me as someone who isn't really technical and doesn't know a lot about physics?
I think I usually start with things that people do actually know from daily experience, or for example, how do colors work? You can have very long conversations about that. Or things in mechanical engineering as well, like cars and so on. You can explain a lot of physics about how these things work.
Okay, and for a lot of people it's difficult to get into physics. What would you advise them to really get into physics and then get into the nitty-gritty?
Right, well, I agree with the previous speaker as well, indeed, that I think being interested in physics is a bit of an intrinsic thing because it is difficult, right? Like you do struggle a bit to understand things, and if you don't have a very strong intrinsic drive to understand how things work, it is very hard to get into it, I think, at a deeper level. But at the same time, I think the popularity of YouTube channels like Veritasium or Freeboo One Brown, those types of channels are hugely popular. And not everybody who watches that is a physicist. A lot of people who are not physicists do like those things. So I think I very often end up recommending cool videos to people, and then they do actually enjoy it, and hopefully they will get more into it.
Okay. And are there like any advice you would give to people who really aren't that interested in physics, but maybe to like make them more interested, or like, I don't know how to say, yeah, really make them interested in physics?
It really depends on the person, I think. Like you have to feel a bit when you're talking to somebody, like what their buttons are, I guess. Because you have to know, like, oh, but I do notice you are interested in this thing, and do you actually know that there's physics behind that? So it depends a bit on the conversation and how it's going, but you can usually, there's not one thing that works for everyone, I think. It's something that naturally comes up in conversation, and then you link it to their interests, and then hopefully you also give them a momentum to go forwards with learning more physics.
Okay, and what's your favorite part of physics?
Good question. I think I'm most interested in particle physics still. That's also what I did my PhD in. So I'm still very interested in understanding where all the different particles that we have around us and that we are made of, the matter that we are made of, where that comes from. So that's the main thing I look at. And of course, we're here at the Geometric Algebra conference, so a lot of it can be explained in very geometrical terms. So that's something I find very interesting.
Okay, then I would like to thank you very much for your lecture. I hope you keep inspiring people like you did today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.